And hello, welcome to the next episode of The Letter. I'm having a fantastic time. Visuals, spooky, great. Characters are interesting. And now we're in a different perspective. I still don't know if this is supposed to happen. Was that a set kind of cutoff time? Would I have kept going on as Isabella if I had not fucked up? Like, does the fact that I'm now Hannah, does that mean I fucked up as Isabella and now she gets to continue on the mystery? I don't know. Because there's different profiles, and I would kind of assume that you eventually go through all of them. Maybe, question mark? Maybe the fact that I am Hannah now means I didn't fuck up? But right now I'm Hannah. I would guess it goes in order of Zachary, Marianne, Rebecca, Ashton, and Luke. Why Luke is not next to Hannah, I will not understand. Probably until later. But yeah, this is gonna be great. Anyway. It's far too easy to get them to pay attention and raptured. They hang on to my every word and follow my every move. All of it would have been stifling had I not grown used to such stares. Most are respectful, some are hostile, if we are honest. And a few are downright inappropriate. After all, I am...
Kinda right!
There's a moment of agitation as a familiar, but less than welcome, face approaches... I emphasize that very strangely. I'm gonna try that again. There's a moment of agitation as a familiar, but less than welcome face approaches me with a suggestive smirk on his face. Of course, I have to keep a benevolent smile and greet him as I greet any good friend. After all, this man can turn heads, being famous in his own right.
Officer Lee! What a pleasant surprise. I didn't think you'd have the time to attend tonight's party.
He is more Luke's friend than mine, really, and I'm quite sure I only invited his wife. Much like I'm only friends with the Chief Inspector because of Luke, Luke is only friends with Rochelle because of me. Unlike how I treated Lee, however, Luke never hid his animosity for the Lee matriarch. It was an odd sort of friendship where we would have awkward double dates. I don't even recall his first name. It started with an N, I think. I may be wrong. Aside from being Chief Inspector of Luxembourg Police, his wife, Rochelle Lee... Vance owns a general electronics company. Fridges and freezers mostly.
Oh, I always have time for my favourite socialite couple. Might I say, you look positively ravishing tonight. I see the husband isn't with ya.
Gross. The way he eyes me up is enough to make my skin crawl. I just wish Luke was here to fend off the more unseemly of our peers. You know the ones. Men who are just a bit too friendly, staring too long at my assets and getting close just because my husband is not here. And to think they have the gall to do this at my own party! In my own house, if I might add. But, like any high society woman worth her salt, I know how to handle it with grace and dignity.
I suppose you are looking pleasant as well. Luke's busy with work, unfortunately.
Are we gonna get any insight into her mind as to why she can't get fucking names right?
Michelle isn't here.
A shame. I do hope he isn't causing you much trouble. That husband of yours can be a bit daft sometimes, acting like he's still some young bachelor. The wife sends her regards and her apologies, but something came up with a doctor and she needed to attend to it. You know her, being pregnant and all.
We make small talk. Rather, I'm forced to do so, as he would not leave my side after finding his place there. Much to my chagrin, I've been... Extricated? Eh? I've been extricated from the few who flock in hopes of flattering, for I can tolerate them far better than Lee. He is a nice enough person, and I adore his wife, who obviously is the brains behind the two. But there is something unsettling about him. I do not trust him as much as I want to. Trust your gut. He told to me the tales of Luxburn Police Department, a different affair to the usual gossip I am privy to, and, though I loathe to admit it, it is interesting nonetheless. So wait, does that mean Ashton works in that? Because he's like detective inspector, right? I don't know how the police force works. I expect the topic of visits to die out quickly, which would be understandable enough due to the confidential nature of his work. But oh boy, was I wrong.
So, wearing civvies, I steal and drive off with one of the police mobiles, right? In the mirror, I see the mutant chasing on foot and screaming about theft.
Is that something you should be bragging about?
The look on his face was priceless when I parked in the garage.
Oh my. You made him chase you all the way home for a prank. What did Rochelle have to say about that?
Rochelle has a strange love and hate affair with Lee. Oh, fucking shit. He is a married man who did not grow up past his early 20s, judging by the way he acts. Surprisingly enough, they've been married for a good 20 years. A lifetime, if you compare it to my marriage of 7 years with Luke. I, on the other hand, well, Luke is no Lee. I should be happy about that, I suppose. Although, my darling did have his moments.
The wife pulled my ear and gave me a good talking to, though. Besides, we live in a flat a block away, so it wasn't much of a grand chase.
Weren't you living in a house near the countryside?
Moved for work, you know. Or you probably don't.
No, I don't. But a flat in downtown. I suppose if that's what you like.
Oh, it's horrid. Hate that tiny place, no matter how convenient it can be for work. 55 square yards are not enough when you need to get away from the wife. I wouldn't mind a place away from the city. Even started looking at the ads. I spied an interesting lot, actually. Heard it was finally put up for sale. Or that something mansion, you know the one with all the ghost stories.
Ooh, now we're gonna find out how the fuck she found out about the mansion. Hell yeah. I know what he's talking about. There are only a few urban legends around here. It's...
The Ermagood Mansion?
That's the one. Worthy of a king it is. I'd buy it myself, but Rochelle would only gripe if I brought it up to her. Not to mention all the expenses a place like that will be a real fixer-upper. You also have to find someone willing to work there with how superstitious people can be.
If it becomes a problem, just hire someone to do an exorcism.
Actually, I do know of someone who could be up to the task. You remember the Ludgates party at their Christchurch summer residence?
Of course. It was an excellent soiree. Everything was so classy, too. Such good taste.
Oh, that place was a pigsty until they hired out this interior designer and they turned it into a bloody palace. She worked for the Exodus for their apartment in Soho too, and they recommended her when we were looking up pieces for our beach house in Porto Colom. I think I have a business card right at... No, I must have left it in my other jacket. Anyway, she's called, what's her name? McCullough, Marianne, I believe, yes. But truly, if anyone were to get that place in McCullough, well, they'd be the envy and the talk of the town.
You're not goading me, are you?
Well, if you put it that way, I might just snatch it up for myself. This place was starting to feel a bit small lately anyway.
Is he goading me? Sure, a 3-story penthouse might not fit the definition of small for some people. Okay, maybe a lot of people. At least you're sensible about that. But it isn't big enough to just have grand parties in. As it is, I only invited about 30 people to this one, and it already feels cramped in here. 30 people sounds like a lot to me. It certainly would be nice if I didn't have to ride up an elevator up and down several floors before I can get anywhere at all, as well. All Luke's words, not mine. Besides, I have been looking for a good anniversary gift. Luke might like this one. Where is he anyway? And we're skipping ahead to the 21st. Okay, the 21st. Were papers signed yet? Before going into the mansion, and that's when she found the note. Okay. Luke is dressed up to the nines, as he usually is, and he looks ready for whatever the day will throw at him. His butler and valet wait at his side, just in case he isn't as ready as he looks. Oh, sure, that is normal. What is confusing me is the fact that he's on his way out of the penthouse, considering we won't have anywhere to go until much later.
Where are you going?
I am to attend the Triad Autumn Tasting. I do believe I informed you of this 2 weeks ago.
Yes. And might I remind you that I had stricken that off your schedule? Because 1, the doctor told you to stop consuming so much alcohol.
Damn.
And 2, I informed you a few days ago about the open house we are going to attend in its place. I've even found this marvelous interior designer, Mary Ann McCullough.
It's a 3.5-hour drive to Cardiff. I don't have time for this. This is like that little party you threw all over again. You don't inform me of it, and you expect me to stay and be a gracious host when I have business elsewhere. You know how I operate, Hannah. Unless this was penciled in, I am sticking to my schedule.
If I may intrude, the madam is correct. Your physician did insist you moderate your drinking, unless you wish to incur acute pancreatitis. And you did have this open house penciled in last Wednesday morning.
Oh, checkmate.
Bullocks, I don't remember doing so.
Someone else did it for you.
Well, you did. While very hungover, in fact.
He did. Moaned about me not being too loud, but gave in after some pushing. Perhaps that was a bit too cruel and manipulative of me, but...
Whose side are you on?
Come on, Luke. You promised we'd do whatever I want this weekend.
Damn.
Gordon Bennett, fine. I am giving this house tour of yours a chance.
Gordon Bennett? Huh.
But if it proves to be a waste of time, I am going to Cardiff, and you are going to take a cab home. Are we clear?
It's just a bit of a husband and wife tit for tat, isn't it? All couples have their arguments. Once the honeymoon phase is over, as they seem to call it, reality sets in that you and your partner might not always see eye to eye. Perhaps it has been the years. 7 of them is nothing to scoff at.
I just cannot bloody believe I agreed to this. I was really looking forward to the Triad tasting.
Though sometimes, I think it's something a bit more than just simple disagreements, and I have to stop myself from wondering where we went wrong.
There's always the Triad Christmas tasting in Manchester next month, and that'll only be an 1.5-hour drive.
Have I been neglectful? Have I offended? Have I acted shamefully?
Yes, but Cardiff...
Certainly, any problem can be discussed. As long as he doesn't turn me away.
Well, there goes my good mood. Are you happy now, Hannah?
Why must he treat me this way? Ooh, right, decision-making time. I want to defend myself so fucking badly, but that's gonna make the relationship worse, isn't it? Okay, so where are we at? Obviously I can't be friends with myself. Interesting that I have relationship meters for Zachary and Rebecca. Ashton is... what have I done there? I'll hit this, but if it goes negative points, I'm reloading immediately.
Yes, I am very happy, Luke.
Oh.
Because for once in a very long time, we are doing what I want. I'm ecstatic. Understood? And this would be perfect if you stop acting like a child who needs their nappy changed. We will be leaving after lunch for the Ermengarde mansion. You are going to park your rear in the car and keep mum. And you are going to behave during the tour.
So because I have plus points, does that mean he likes me being aggressive? Needless to say, Luke looks a bit shocked at my little outburst. He opened and closed his mouth a few times, struggling to reply, before he crosses his arms to look like, well, a moping child.
Any more rules for this little excursion of yours, Your Highness?
No wine.
No wine? Unacceptable! I am already not allowed to the tasting, and you would deprive me of that simple pleasure?
If I see you take one sip today, I will put the stocks under lock and key. Do you understand me?
Don't forget the bottles he keeps in his dresser.
Whose side are you on?
How many times in one day can you ask that?
Don't ask. Because I can prove. I can prove any expectations that you have wrong.
As many times as I need you, traitor.
The ride to the mansion is quiet, with Luke having stared out the window the entire way, not paying attention to anything around him. Meanwhile, I am conflicted. I don't know if I should apologize for changing his plans like that. But by the time we arrive at the mansion and I see his eyes light up in genuine interest, apologizing is the last thing on my mind. Oh no, we're gonna see their perspective of Isabella's thing. Oh no. Alright, second embarrassment, here we go. The whole affair with the Ermengarde mansion is certainly an interesting experience. The place had been renovated and restored by the owners to what they claim to be acceptable standards. The mansion itself looks like something befitting a fairy tale or a period piece. It is tastefully decorated, and with a little bit of love and attention, I'm sure it can be a place Luke and I can call home. And the number of other prospective buyers that have come from the powerful and wealthy of Luxembourg certainly did not disappoint, marking this estate as prime property. The Lees are amongst the group who went with the Rose Woman, and I saw a few other notable faces, though I did not really feel like mingling. Unfortunately for every one of them, the Wrights are interested in buying. What's been bugging my mind, however, is that Isabelle. What is her problem? I still don't quite understand what is happening. Oh no, please no. One moment, she is scrambling to give us paperwork to finalize the sale. Then she's panicking over some sort of prank letter or another.
Dear me, is Isabelle alright?
It is apparent, with the way she shakes and by the pallor of her skin, something has really shaken her up.
Isabella, do you need me to call that ambulance?
I am worried, but it would be best if she is attended to by someone more familiar to her, like her partner. But even then, the girl refuses Rose's offered drink and looks like just about ready to make a run for it.
No, I'm just feeling a bit out of it. Excuse me, I'll be back. I just need to catch my breath.
And she does so, just as I predicted, and her partner follows like a concerned mother. There is an awkward air among us as we are left in the wake of whatever that was. The others murmur and gossip with each other, speaking of the poor daft girl and telling the tale to whoever was not audience to the act in the first place. It doesn't take too long for the woman, Rose, to return and pull us aside into the study floor, what I rightfully assume is damage control. Rose invites Marianne in too, hoping to apologize to her as well. But the woman refuses, saying she is not one of her clients anyway. That leaves myself, Rose, and Luke. The last all too eager to make himself comfortable in a study he no doubt already claimed as his own.
I can't apologize enough about what just happened. Please forgive Isabella. She's been under a lot of pressure lately. She's young and all those rumors about this being haunted just got to her head. And it must be this terrible heat too. Not a drop of rain for days now.
Are you sure it is wise to just let her go like that? Where is the poor dear? She might get hurt.
She's more likely to hurt somebody else, given what just happened.
I told her to sit down and take a break. Already rang someone to pick her up, too.
That might be for the best, dear. But please, we're here to talk about the mansion, yes? Why, I absolutely adore it. Don't you, Luke? Some of the rooms will certainly have to be repurposed. We want to change the appliances and have Marianne lead on the decor, but the whole thing is just lovely.
I guess. It's certainly a lot roomier than our penthouse.
Exactly. Lots of space for guests, parties, a lot of room for little ones to run around too.
Let's not discuss that right now, Buttercup.
Oh, that's a strange voice.
Anyway, I do think it would be a shame to let this mansion slip past us.
Oh shit.
But you haven't even finished touring the house.
Well, we like what we've seen.
I am making her job easier for her, am I not? No need for loans or long price negotiations. We can just sign a contract and close the deal. Really, you'd think this woman would be more happy about an easy sale. I know how these estate agents worked. How long they had to wait and how much they had to spend even just for a single sale. Why, she should be jumping for joy by now. I'm sure the commission on this mansion is nothing to sneeze at, even if she has to split it with the Isabel girl.
Huh, do you think we could have horses here?
Yes, those do sound nice, love. Anyway, if anyone else is interested in buying this property, I assure you that I'm able and willing to give a better offer.
A vineyard would be nice. Or maybe
And we do reward our people quite generously, Rose. So if I were you, I would start on that paperwork.
helicopter pad.
I pause. And there's a small moment of complete silence where Rose and I just stare incredulously at Luke. It is an unspoken understanding, a rule between the two of us that we have to put on an act. With our social standing, where image matters, it is also important to avoid making enemies. And to follow this rule is an easy feat for me. From youth, I have been the well-trained social butterfly, gracious and graceful. Luke, on the other hand...
Oh, wait, what, Luke? No, what? Whatever would we need a helipad for?
Well, he likes to play the fool sometimes, even if he is anything but. As he throws me a wry smile, I shake my head and beckon Rose over. This is to be our home, and there's nothing she or anyone else can do to change my mind. This is a place that speaks of power and importance, and, at the same time, of safety and comfort. Perhaps we can even have our family here? Oh yes, haunted mansion. Oh yes, this speaks widely of safety and comfort. There's definitely no better gift than this for our special date. Why, everything here is absolutely wonderful. Well, oh. Well, except for this ugly painting in the study. It looks like a bad fake of an Edvard Munch painting.
Here's the deal. I'm willing to pay 10% higher than your listing price. If anyone tries to outbid us, just add another 5%. I doubt anyone can, of course. Or, you know what? Just add 15% to the listing price, and we can sign all the paperwork now.
Oh.
I guess, if that's what you want. That won't be any trouble. I don't have all the papers now. Didn't think this would be a quick sell. I'll have copies sent to you so you can look over them. And if you'd still like to finish the rest of the tour with Isabella's group, you're more than welcome to.
No, I think we're good here. We'd appreciate a private tour of the place a lot more, I think.
All right. Should I let Marianne in, then?
Marianne? Oh, right. She's been waiting outside the study this whole time, hasn't she? I'll need to have a little chat with her to move this little mansion project forward.
Please do.
There's a look of apprehension when the other woman enters the study. Oh, when we get to her point of view, did something happen? Yet, like a professional, I see the moment when she steels herself and masks her worry. Admirable.
We have this project then?
Of course. Will you be needing anything from us?
Having the floor plans would be a great start, just so that I can look at them beforehand. And if you could tell me when you're available for a meeting so that I can include it in my calendar?
Oh, is a meeting really all that necessary, Marianne? I guess we can send Johans to help you out. You two can start by getting rid of this ugly painting.
A hush falls upon the room at my request.
What painting?
And lo and behold, the painting is gone. Oh no. No, this is all. Oh no. In its place, a mirror stands, which leads me to look at my own confused expression.
Odd. Well, no matter. Back to the topic at hand. Marianne, dear, we are simply far too busy to meet up.
Or perhaps maybe I should. I'm gonna do free up schedule. I feel like that's gonna get me Marianne points.
But I guess we can free up a day to meet with you.
Okay, only one that changes Marianne, and I get plus points, which I'm all for. I'm assuming the more points I have in a thing, the better, right? I can't imagine why negative points would be a good thing.
I don't really need another Maudlin Monday reading about Maury anyway. The book club can function without me for one day. What time shall we be seeing each other? How does lunch sound?
Besides, my house has a higher priority over book club. Why, we can hold the next meeting in this place. Surely, the beauty and grandeur of it all will inspire spirited and lively debates about whether modern-day writers can match up to the classics. I might as well clear up the rest of my week to handle whatever affairs buying this mansion requires of me. Any social activity can be put off until the Umagard, or rather, the Wright's mansion, great debut. I'll have my fill of great parties and gatherings, especially when I organize them myself.
That sounds good. Although, with a project of this scope, we might need most of the day to tackle your concerns. A more thorough inspection of the place is also preferable.
Breakfast then. It's a date.
It's really not.
All right. Monday. 10 o'clock sharp.
10 o'clock is not breakfast. 10 o'clock is brunch.
We'll see you then.
Actually, Marianne suggested that we meet at 9, but who is even awake at that unholy hour? I've already started work by then. I was lucky enough to wake up this morning before Luke went all the way to Cardiff. We say our goodbyes, shake hands, and make it clear without outright saying it that we now own this house. By the time we left the mansion grounds, sunset is almost upon us.
So, you really want to buy this place then? That's a bit of a big impulse buy, even coming from you. Not that I'm complaining.
I feel elation when I hear those words from him. It's not every day one is able to please someone like Luke. He gives away false flattery to sway those who starve for his attention and approval. But in the privacy of closed doors, he would often express his grievances. He neither censored himself in front of me nor spared me from his criticism.
You have been saying the penthouse was getting a bit too small for you. Happy anniversary!
Oh. That time of the year already?
You look so unhappy. He forgot about it last year, too. I understand that he's a busy man, but...
Is that why you want to buy it?
Yes. You don't like it?
I do. But I remember you used to talk about how you wanted to live next to the beach.
Oh, you remember conversations. Botany Bay, Kent. I remember the sea, the water that stretched on for miles and miles, as far as the eye can see. As a kid, I loved our beach trips, swimming all day as much as I could. I was a well-behaved child, and the only time I was ever truly difficult was when I refused to get out of the waters, even when my fingers had gone all wrinkly. And even when they managed to pull me out of the water, there was always sandcastles. The day before we married, I told Luke that I wanted a house on a beach and a dog. And a kid or two. None of those came true 7 years later.
That was a childish dream. Living next to the beach is so impractical if you really think about it.
I don't know. It's not a bad thought to see you in a bathing suit every day.
Oh, God.
Maybe another time, love. We still have forever, don't we?
He says nothing, only grabbing my hand and holding it tight, as we spend the rest of the ride home in silence. I miss the sea. Sick and hovering over the loo at 3 in the morning, the picture I paint right now is hardly glamorous. A horrible fishy taste is left in my mouth as I throw up what I had for dinner, and I hate the acrid smell that fills the lavatory. The burning sensation at the back of my throat is of no help whatsoever. I can feel another wave of nausea come up on me when the door opens.
Hannah, what are you doing so early out of bed?
I'm fine, love. I must have just eaten something bad.
I've got 2 guesses. That's all I managed to say before vomiting again into the porcelain throne. Lovely.
Just go back to bed, Luke. I'm going to clean up here.
I refuse to look at him. I don't want him to see me like this. The last time I've had a horrible morning retching into a toilet was during my college years, being the life of the party. Thoughtless and shameless, I'd thrown away months of frivolous merriment and pointless hookups. I didn't even retain any of the connections I had made from that time. Sure, they still know of me, and I still know of them, and we still do business from time to time, but I've lost touch with anyone who I didn't see on a daily basis. I hardly have any of the friends that I had when I was still Hannah Evans. Teachers, fellow university students, drinking buddies, and old conquests like Jack.
No, don't touch me, sweetie. It's disgusting. I'm disgusting.
Luke sits down next to me, on the toilet floor, to hold my hair even as I cough up more fish. Oh. He wipes the vomit from the corner of my mouth and just stares.
Do I need to fire someone? I don't feel sick.
Just feeling a bit under the weather, dear. It's been unbearably hot as of late, hasn't it? I do wish it would rain.
Yes, please be supportive of your spouse.
Are you sure it wasn't those sweets? I told you not to eat those sweets.
Maybe. Well, don't laugh.
Well, I can't help if you make that sort of face.
He starts chuckling, and soon enough, he's in a fit of laughter. The scene happening next to a loo filled with sick just makes the whole thing bizarre, and it nearly makes me start giggling as well. I try to stifle it though, as I smack him on the shoulder.
I'm not making a face, Luke. Stop laughing. Shut up.
When he would not stop laughing, I let myself go as laughter bubbles up from my own throat, and I forget whatever ill feelings plagued me. We are just husband and wife, laughing together at a funny face, the little things in life. I let myself go because I know that these moments will not last forever. But if I just know that the terrible things that are to come for us, I would have wished that everything I have then and there, that the laughter had stayed. Okay, now we're past the point where we
Up higher! Come on now!
Okay. The place is bustling with movers, carrying furnishings here and there, along with several trunks of personal belongings taken from our penthouse. I'm going to guess that this does mean paperwork went through, everything was fine, nothing happened on the paperwork end. Luke watches them like a hawk, making sure nothing is handled carelessly or gets stolen.
Careful now! I know your pictures are framed by cheap plastic, but those are framed by African blackwood and are one-of-a-kind commissioned paintings. Each one is easily worth a lifetime of what you lot make.
Luke, do the dishwashers go into the kitchen or the butler's pantry?
Pantry, Buttercup. Careful, that's a
You're gonna say mahogany, aren't you?
No, you there, put that down. You do not manhandle a Napoleon Abueva.
I can see the exasperation, and I have to send the foreman an apologetic glance. Even the Johans roll his eyes as he goes by. Considering Luke is always like this during a project, Johans and I have chosen to have gotten used to it. Johannes? God damn it. Poor Marianne, on the other hand, looks a bit stressed at seeing the gigantic? Wow. Gigantic mess before quickly going back to work. Everything just has to be perfect, exactly the way he wants it. One little thing out of place, one little thing that didn't fit the image he clearly constructed in his head, and Luke gets bent out of shape.
Sweetie, why don't we go and sort your suits upstairs? Let Johans and Marianne and the foreman deal with the rest of the work.
We have this, Mrs. Wright.
Yes, please do go before a blood vessel bursts. Bloodstains are so troublesome to clean.
I love that Johans also does the whole anime glasses thing where there's a sheen on it. Just, oh, I love that. Taking him by the hand, I lead him upstairs to our bedroom. Holy. That is pretty. This place has been arranged first so that we can get some rest, no matter what state the rest of the mansion is in. I am definitely glad I can just lie down on a soft, comfy bed after what has been a busy morning. Watching Luke act like his life depended on getting this move done is tiring all on its own. And to think I have a whole day of this ahead of me. I feel the bed dip beside me as Luke sits down with a sigh.
Well, I can't wait for this to be over.
I don't know. It's fun seeing you all fired up. Here at home and not at work, you know.
You know I can't always be home, Hana. I have a company to run, unless you've forgotten.
I haven't forgotten. You're the one who insists on being there to make sure each and every little thing is under control. I just really miss you sometimes, and I wish you were at home more often.
Communication.
Why, if you're not careful, I might go a bit loopy and I'll start bringing cats home. And soon enough, one day you'll find yourself going home to a farm just filled with felines that follow you everywhere.
Oh, don't bluff. The things would shred up your precious furniture. Besides, you don't even like cats.
True. Dogs are infinitely superior, of course.
But what about the wet dog smell? The mess? I'm not cleaning up after a mutt, no matter how cute. If you think about it, a cat would be better.
We laugh. It's not always that we can just lie down and talk about these sort of things. To joke around, as if we're teenagers again, with very little problems in the way of responsibilities and roles. To hear his genuine, honest-to-goodness laughter is a rarity. This is just the second time as of late. And I can only see it as signs of good things to come.
All good points. I guess we could just have kids. That is, if you prefer dealing with soiled nappies and sick as opposed to dead birds, mice, and litter boxes. I've already told Marianne about turning the second bedroom into a children's room.
I guess sometimes I don't know when I'm crossing a line. I didn't say that I'm a good comedian, did I?
Not this again.
What? I wasn't being serious.
It's not something you take the piss out of. Having a kid is a big responsibility, Hannah. We've talked about this, haven't we? I'm not ready to be a parent. I'd probably end up killing the little brat by the week's end.
Oh yeah, definitely don't have a kid. Damn. What should I say? No, don't have a kid if he is... No. Nuh-uh. As much as I want to say you'll be a great father and like do the whole reassurance thing, I'm just going to apologize and pray that gives me points. No, that minus points. Okay, reassurance it is.
Carly likes you well enough.
Okay, cool. Just double checking that I wasn't like doubly screwed. The mention of her little goddaughter places a conflicted look on his face. Sometimes it is cute when he denies having a soft spot for the little girl. But then, sometimes it's sad, and it makes me wonder what happened to make him think so poorly of himself in this regard.
Yes, well, it's Kylie. The tyke likes everybody and, on the off chance she doesn't, likes them well enough as long as they buy her sweets. And sure, that kid is great, but if I get tired of her, I can ship her back to her father at the end of the day. Having kids of our own will be a whole different monster entirely.
You're not wrong. I have never heard him talk about his father in anything but a business context. I recall Damien Wright, kept hearing about him from my own father even before I met Luke. The business world praised him for running a tight ship, all until one mistake led to a great loss for the Enterprise. It was then that the news of Luke Wright, a prodigy son and successor to the old man, started to show up, and he aided in its recovery and growth up until the Great Recession. I'm getting a bit off track. Regardless, I've never heard him talk about his father like one would talk about family.
I think you'll be a great father.
There is a smile, no matter how half-hearted it might be. I do really think that. He might not be a good, honest man, and part of me knows that, though I try to silence it. But I know Luke well enough that he will be a better father than either Damien Wright or Henry Evans. I love my father, but he never had the time.
If it is any consolation, I think you'd be a decent mother.
Decent, huh? On the other hand, I've never heard of his mother. A silence settles, both comfortable and uncomfortable. There is a familiarity in each other's company despite the awkwardness that had transpired. Defenses and masks down, without anybody else looking, we were both together and alone in this quiet. But a crash from downstairs startles us both out of our reverie. Luke lets out a heavy sigh before coming up to his feet and straightening his jacket.
I'll have to attend to that then.
Be good, darling. And watch out for your blood pressure.
He gives me a kiss on the cheek before leaving, while I lay there in a daze. Alone, as per usual. I really should be used to it by now. I can feel the minutes tick by with me just lying there, feeling miserable and full of self-pity. I have rolled over to lie on my stomach at this point, with my face buried into the pillows, when there's a knock at the door. Grumbling at them to go away doesn't work as a voice comes from the other side.
Madam, the photographer from Luxury Living is here.
Wait, is that today? Oh, yes. People have caught wind of our new mansion, in the very moment we left the open house. Luke had boasted he could acquire the property in no time and allowed a photo shoot for an interior design magazine to be scheduled today. When they're not even done? Okay. Well, there were complications, and it took longer than it usually does for us.
In a minute, Hansi.
Johannes, if you could at least make it through the end.
Tell them I'll be right down, Hansi.
The venture grounds have been one of the first things to be fixed up, aside from the bedroom. Although it's a small work in progress, it had a promising start, and I can already see the flower patches. Luke's favorite daffodils stand out easily, having been transplanted from the pots that used to litter the rooftop of our penthouse. Why, if the moving crew thought that Luke was being hard on them, they clearly didn't see the landscaper on his way out. The man looked like he was ready to faint, and Luke seemed ready to kill him by the end of their discussion. Cause he would have a meeting. Oh. It is in the gardens that I see him standing near the flowers in quiet admiration. He is hard to miss, the hulk of a man that clearly did not belong, and the big backpack and suitcase he had with him makes him look larger. It is a peculiar sight seeing someone who looks like he does handle looks like he does. Wow. Words. It is a peculiar sight seeing someone who looks like he does handling little delicate things with such care. He looks up from the gardens and does a double take before a friendly face replaces his serene expression.
Miss Wright, yeah? Hi, Zachary Steele here from Luxury Living, ma'am. Hope you weren't waiting too long. But it looks like you're still moving in, huh? Thought for a second there my calendar was wrong and I came here too early.
The one and only. Welcome to Maison de Wright. And yes, we've been in the process of moving in as we were delayed, but it won't be a problem. They're just adding a few things here and there, and you should still be able to do your work. Where's the rest of your crew then, Mr. Steele?
Zach is fine, please. Mr. Steele makes me feel like I'm a mascot for a cleaning product. Anyway, I'll be your one-man crew for today. Don't worry, been doing this gig for a while now.
You must be quite the veteran to handle this on your own. We've had a full crew coming into our penthouse the last time we were covered in your magazine.
Veteran? Oh, your words are too kind, Miss Wright.
Hannah, if I get to call you Zach, you have my permission to call me Hannah.
Alrighty then. Anyway, I'm no veteran, but I know my camera well enough to make sure this is a good shoot. You can trust me on that, Miss Wright. Hannah.
Zachary proves... Zachary proves quickly enough that I can, in fact, trust him. His skills with the camera and experience in this industry, at the very least. He is kind and courteous, listening and following, as I lead him around the house. A really nice fellow, and he treats our household staff well, whenever we cross paths with them. I answer his questions to the best of my ability, and he is patient enough to answer mine whenever I get curious enough. For one, I ask him what the bats are for. They're quite the magician's toolkit. From inside, he had procured several items to embellish the interior with. Bowls of fruit, lemons, trays with peppermills, stacks of cookbooks, cutting boards, and glass canisters filled with colorful nuts and grains that are brought in for a kitchen setting. For the bathroom, there are white towels, seashells, and decorative soaps. There are other things as well, too numerous to count, all in that large backpack and suitcase.
Tricks of the trade. Softens up a room, makes a place feel more homey, and fills it up with texture. But you guys probably have better stuff I can use for this.
No lights? Don't tell me all of these are just props.
Well, I've got my tripod here. For things like these, natural light is best. I'll just have to set the shutter speed to a real slow setting, and as long as nobody steps into the shot, it'll look great.
Oh, it better.
Ominous words. As long as nobody steps into the shot. He's seen the letter. Oh no. That's my prediction anyway. We go through the rooms one at a time, although we first tackle the ones that the movies have no business in anymore. The ballroom needs little preparation with its grand design. Damn. Although there is some trouble at first, with the wide open space and the pictures being backlit. It is in the kitchen that Zachary's props come in handy, and considering how Johannes kept the place so neat and sterile, one can practically eat off the floor. We carry on, touring the house and taking pictures where we can, with exception to the rooms which have yet to gain any purpose or design. Too bad I can't take a sneak peek at his photos yet. Funnily enough, he's using a traditional camera. I didn't even know film still existed. Oh, that's even worse. With the way he speaks, however, I can see that he knows enough about his craft that I'm not too worried about botched photographs. Oh, you should. I imagine photography must be cathartic for him, judging by how at ease he looks while taking pictures. There are small snippets of conversation in between the clicking of the camera. He even goes as far to talk about the terminologies like shutter speed and aperture when I ask about the technical aspects. I can't quite see the picture as it is made, much like when I watch artists paint on their canvas. But watching someone passionately practicing their craft such as this is exciting in its own way. Going through the many rooms has been quite the exercise for both of us. Despite that, he has been so nice, and I find myself putting on my best smile. It's a good CG. But it is as we're taking pictures of the foyer, that everything comes to a standstill for a moment. Just a moment. And had I not been paying attention, I wouldn't have even noticed. It is merely a split second when Zachary's rhythm is put to a halt. His fingers don't move to release the shutter. Yet, he also doesn't put the camera away from his full face, gaze still firmly fixed through the viewfinder. His hands shake, and there's a light sheen of sweat on his forehead.
Zachary?
No response.
Zach? Is something the matter?
Lowering his camera, he blinks and stares at something behind me before shaking his head. Turning around, though, I see nothing that could have gotten his attention.
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something, that's all.
Yeah, Isabella's not that crazy anymore, is she?
Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
I struggle to respond this time. There's a sudden weight on my back and an indescribable tightness around my throat. Everything stops, and everything starts again as I manage to choke out.
If you're sure.
I don't know what just happened. It was probably just a dizzy spell. I'm fine. And he said he's fine. We continue the same pace as before, although there's an unspoken agreement that we will not talk about what just happened.
So, is this a full-time job for you then?
Nah, I just freelance mostly, for magazines, newspapers, and events. So you can't really call it a full-time job. It's fun and it puts food on the table, but it's not what I really want to do. At least, not all the time.
What is it that you want to do then?
Maybe I've been out of line, sticking my nose in other people's business, but I can't help but ask. I regret doing so, as I see his shoulders slump and the easygoing air he has fades away. He looks torn over whether he wants to talk about it or not.
Films. Documentaries, mostly. But cinematography is a lot more difficult than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually.
What thing?
Well, it wasn't really a big thing. People didn't like Blue Fonzie very much.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Baby a lot more.
Very funny.
So, Grand Director, do you want to tell me what Blue Fonzie is all about?
He hesitates. But when I refuse to budge on the matter, he gives in and spills it all out. Blue Fonzie. Le hiro la plus sombre des... Oh, fuck. I'm so sorry. I can't do it. Dark blue, the darkest hours of the Black British. He speaks with passion of one who has gone through the very matter he is concerned with. There is conviction, knowledge, and experience in his speech. Why, I would have told him that he is an amazing speaker, if only I wasn't so engrossed listening. Prejudice and discrimination, in schools and in the workplace. Lesser chances for opportunity and higher chances of being treated like a criminal. He spoke of blacks, and people of color in general, still being treated like second-class citizens. All because of the color of their skin. It is all just positively riveting. And sad. And it comes to a point where he soon loses steam. He looks abashed, realizing what he has just done.
Sorry, I just got so carried away and...
It's fine. It is really so fascinating to watch people talk about their passion after all.
I never thought I'd relate to Hannah. Hannah. I never thought I'd relate to her. Hello.
You should see how your eyes light up when you speak so fiercely. You do have very beautiful eyes.
Uh-huh. Thanks, I guess.
I want to say that I understand where he's coming from, but I really don't, do I? I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and I've lived a charmed life. It hasn't been perfect, but the difficulties I've been through pales in comparison to what others experience on a daily basis. I certainly don't know how I would have fared were it any different. Would I still have met Luke, and would he have still loved me if I were any lesser?
What was your home like? These things you talk about, it sounds like you've... Well, I don't mean to pry, I mean.
Live with my older sister and my grandparents. We had a shop selling all sorts of things below our flat. And well, I was one of the few non-white, non-British students in class. I didn't get pushed around or anything straight up. Even then, I was one of the biggest kids around. But a pencil and notebook would go missing, you know?
Oh, that I knew. Children can be so cruel at times. Of course, it may be a slightly different story when you have personal guards and the stolen item is not a pencil, but an expensive heirloom.
So what about you? How you liking your new house? It's pretty impressive.
It's nice, I suppose.
You suppose? Not big enough?
What? No, oh, don't be a bully. It's just that...
I understand if you don't want to talk about it.
I was a little girl, all done up and treated like fragile porcelain, with nursemaids waiting to me, why is that so hard for me to... All the material possessions anyone could ever want, I could ask for on a whim, and it would have been handed to me just like that. But I barely saw my parents, just goodbye kisses in the morning before they went off to who knows where they needed to next. I saw them more often on the telly or in the papers than I ever did in person.
I remember my old house. It was a lot like this one. Big walls and big halls, but nobody in it. Not really. It makes you think how alone you are.
A pensive mood overcomes us. And there's a moment where neither of us are sure how to go on from there. Things have gone a bit too personal, yet it isn't wholly uncomfortable, like as if we've been friends before.
Well, that's normal, ain't it? You just moved here. You'll make home out of it yet.
He certainly makes it easy to believe that. My childhood house is indeed a lot like this one. Just as large and extravagant. And just as empty. I hope he's right.
So, Monsieur le Photographe, you've covered the one and only Ermengarde mansion. What's next on the agenda?
The interview?
Boring. It's an interior design and housing magazine.
And they want to know what Miss Wright has to say about her interior design and house.
Honor Wright thinks she bought a magnificent house that she can certainly brag about. Blah, blah. Boring. You know what they should print more of? I watched an interesting documentary the other day. Bleu Foncé, The Darkest Hours of the Black British. I recommend you watch it. Those are the things that people should know about. What do they care if I use a purple or green bowl of fruit in my kitchen?
People, right?
Oui. People are shite. What do you think? Do I look good with this angle?
I strike a pose while he's being busy, looking taken aback for a moment, probably not expecting me to just go and say such a crass word. But he recovers quickly, and after snapping a few shots, he grins.
Yeah, vous êtes belle. You want copies of these ones?
Yes, please. So, the big boy knows French. You must have wooed a few ladies. Unless you're into gents. Either way, French is, after all, the language of romance.
Though I don't know about quoting fancy poetry, but I've made lunch for a girl before, and they did like that fancy French cuisine.
Can you cook your best?
I can cook just about anything as long as I know the recipe.
C'est magnifique.
It has been too long since I've had a nice and proper chat with a good friend. No, Lee is certainly not a good friend. And although we've just met, Zachary is the sort who can probably befriend anyone. 'Cause he's awesome. He's just a comfortable person to be around with. a bit too comfortable. The photo shoot went by a breeze. And somewhere along the way, as we talk and laugh, I find myself getting a bit too close without realizing. He'll give me this strange look until I back off, and he'll go back to asking questions after I agree to do his little interview. And it's just odd. Well, no. Me being friendly isn't that odd. That is how I am. Zachary is the one that's being odd. Why, anyone would have absolutely welcomed the extra attention I give them. He, on the other hand, almost looks flustered about it. He should be used to different personalities by now, having to deal with various people where he works. And if not, he needs to start. Perhaps nobody has shown him the attention of this kind, but he's a big boy. He should be able to handle me. All it is a friendly touch here, a pretty smile there, a gentle swaying of the hips as they move around. Zachary grew more and more red every time he noticed. Am I being mean as I find enjoyment in seeing him unravel? Perhaps. This went on during the interview and beyond that. There's nothing wrong with what we're doing, right? Some might consider it flirting, which is not good since you're married. And not an open relationship. Or whatever. Zachary and I are just having a little playful, friendly chat while enjoying the outside view. At least, that's how I see it.
I'm sorry, but I'm really getting distracted. Could you maybe stop doing that?
Stop? I'm not sure if I want to, though. Okay. We're gonna stop it, and I'm gonna hope that gives me points.
I'll stop if it makes you uncomfortable, sweetie.
Yes! Because he asked you to stop, you're fucking stopping.
Sorry.
No, I should be the one apologizing. Why, you're a shy one, aren't you, big guy?
It's not that, but...
He gestures to the ring my finger and lets the fact of the matter hang heavily between us. Being told implicitly that I'm being too forward is not a common occurrence. I think I'm more stunned at the fact that he pointed it out, rather than, well, being rejected. Not that anything is going to happen between us in the first place. It was just going to be some harmless flirting, right?
So, you've never had a girlfriend?
No. No boyfriend either. You know, just in case you were gonna ask for that one next.
And you haven't even had your first kiss?
Not a one, ma'am.
Do you want to have your first kiss today?
No! Oh. Like, unless there's a conversation between you and your husband where that sort of thing is okay. No! Just no! Nat, he asked you to stop it! Ah. Okay, never mind about me any kind of relating to Hana. Nope, I'm taking that back. I can't help it. I really, really can't. And I'm going to apologize lots later. Surely, by the catty smile on my face, it's obvious that I'm just pulling his leg. The laugh I failed to contain certainly gives it away, if it still isn't obvious. But still, he lights up in embarrassment, stammering and sputtering objections.
You're married, and this will be extremely unprofessional.
Go, Zachary.
I never said I would kiss you, silly. Oh, Johans!
No, oh.
No, what? No! Don't call your butler. She's Hana.
That would be for the better. I don't think his husband would appreciate it if I made him kiss another man. I do not think he can hear us from here either. But it is hard to think you're not taken, Zachary. Why, whoever becomes your girlfriend will be so lucky to have you. You can cook and take wonderful photographs. Wonderful meals and wonderful memories.
I can play guitar too.
You can? Oh my, wonderful serenades as well then. Perhaps I can find a young lady who deserves a fine, strapping young gentleman like yourself.
Let's not get carried away. Besides, I gotta be going. It's getting late and I got someplace else to be.
A shame. I will be expecting you again soon, I hope. For a copy of my photographs, yes?
Course, I'll even deliver them personally. Just, you know, don't try to make me kiss your butler when I drop by.
Yes. As fate would have it, the very moment the words leave his mouth, Johannes comes out of the house. No, I know. Judging by the slight raise of his brows, he has only heard the tail end of that sentence.
There shall be no kissing of any butlers under this roof, Danke.
But you are not under a roof, are you, Hansi?
To my amusement, he takes a step back, safely placing him within the threshold of the foyer and under the roof of the house. And just as ever, he is quick to return with a sardonic reply.
I am now. As I was saying, madam, it's about time for supper. Will I be needing to set an extra place at the table?
I appreciate Johann so much.
Oh, what? No, I was just leaving, actually. So, you have a good night, Hana. And you too, Hansi.
It was nice to meet you, Zach, honey. You have a safe trip.
He nods and the grin on his face. And as we say our goodbyes, it is the sweetest that I've ever seen. I linger, looking out for him with his relatively tiny bicycle, backpack safely secured in the basket on the front, and suitcase hooked onto the back. I watch as he went down the path back to Ansem Village until he's nothing more than a blip on the horizon. I cannot help the small smile on my face as I go inside for supper. Entering the dining hall causes me so much confusion. It is dark. For a moment, I thought the electricity work is not up to par, but that is clearly not the case as every other room is bright with artificial light. Finding the light switch is a menu. Gotta just take a small break. Alright, let's see if that break made my reading comprehension any better. Finding the light switch is a monumental task, considering the size and unfamiliarity with the room. To make matters worse, the darkness grants the room a different atmosphere, eerie and frightening. It takes longer than I thought to find the switch, something that will have to be rectified later on. My skin starts to prickle, and there's a distinct feeling of being watched. It unsettles me, and it only spurns me on my search. And when I do open the lights, there's a hiss.
I'll turn the lights down, woman!
Okay. Are you drunk? Is that green? I'm not used to seeing green alcohol. There, at the end of the hall, is my beloved husband with his face in one hand and a glass in the other. Perhaps I can let it go if it's only one glass of wine. However, I can feel myself go livid after seeing the toxic green liquid gleam mockingly at me.
Luke, what? Are you drinking absinthe?
Oh.
You know what the doctor said. Absinthe, Luke. Are you actively trying to kill yourself? Because if you are, we can just hit you with a bloody car.
Honeybee, Buttercup, not too loud, please. Besides, it's Lelouch, not too strong. Just hair of the dog that bit me. Helps with the hangover, dearest.
Hangover?
You drank? When?
This morning, love. Don't be mad. I just needed a few drinks, having to deal with those simpletons. And maybe I had one too much. You don't see me whinging about you leaving me to handle them on my own.
I had to attend the photo shoot and interview with Luxury Living. You know that. Let's not make this about me, Luke. This is about you and your drinking problem and...
Oh, I don't know, Hana, darling. What if my drinking problem, as you like to call it, is linked to you?
Oh.
If we think about it that way, this discussion is about you. That was pretty mean of you, leaving me alone to do all the work like that. You can't use the interview as an excuse either, honey. I was informed the moment your little interview was done. So, what was it then, What were you doing?
Oh. This is not gonna be pretty, is it? Do you ever feel awkward about watching other people fight? I'm getting the same kind of feeling. Except I'm playing a game and I kinda have to continue. Let's tell the truth. Please give me pluses for telling the truth.
I was talking with Zachary, the photographer for Luxury Living.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't like the option I'm about to pick. I don't. But I guess we're doing this.
I was just tending to the garden, sweetie.
That shoots way up. Oh, I don't like it. Okay.
You were?
For a moment, he looks skeptical. I can tell by the gleam in his eyes and the way he sits up and in attention. He thinks I'm lying. But I see no point in bringing up Zachary and aggravating him. I did tend to the gardens for a bit, so it's not a complete lie. Just a little white lie. Besides, I know just how to please him. Sauntering over and circling around him, I place my fingers on his shoulder. He let out a little groan before melting like butter as I massaged his shoulders.
Mm-hmm. I had to make sure they didn't ruin your favorite daffodils.
Oh, that is wonderful.
I'm not sure if he means the massage or the flowers, but I'll take it. This is better than a fight.
So, absinthe.
Just one glass, Lush.
I suppose I can let this one go. A bit too late anyway, you've already drank half the thing. But remember your doctor's orders.
Yes, I'll try to drink less.
Something tells me he said that a lot.
Try.
Hey, I'm only human. Do you want one?
No, thank you.
Supper is spent in silence without nothing but the occasional sound of silverware. A grand feast has been served. Well, grander than usual anyway, most likely due to Luke's complaints of stress. A platter of native oysters for starters, a tranche of turbot? With purple sprouting broccoli, lemon, capers, and anchovy sauce for the mains. To finish it all off, black tea and golden syrup sponge pudding with custard. But when our appetites are appeased and the plates are cleared away, Luke stands, kisses me goodnight, and leaves me to stare at my half-empty cup. Lonely in the lull of the night, I sit, in a house too big and too empty, foreign and unwelcoming. Even with its warm tone and homely decor, it feels cold. There's no need for tears, however. I know I can get through this like every other obstacle I have faced before. This is a minor setback in what I hope will be a long and happy life. To remind myself that this place is for Luke and for our future children fills me with renewed vigor. It's almost like if you buy things, it doesn't exactly make the problem go away. And also, like, it's a delicate situation because you're helpful for children, but he does not want children. This is a bad combination of people to be together. Besides, it looks like someone is having a cry already. The wailing is far away and muffled. Oh, please no. Yet at the same time, it shakes me to my very core as I hear it. As if the suffering is just standing right beside me. Hearing it sends a chill down my spine and makes my skin prickle with goosebumps. Who is that? No, please no. Curiosity sinks in as I follow the sorrowful sound into the kitchen. And into the wine cellar hatch.
Hello? Is anybody down there?
Oh, please no. I am curious and concerned, but there's no way I'm going down into a dark and humid underground. I'm not as enthusiastic as Luke, who considers himself quite the connoisseur. However, I also can't bring myself to go to bed with this racket going on. If it is one of the household help, they will surely need some talking. After all, this won't be the first time I've gone and found one of the maids sobbing their eyes out over one thing or another. As professional as our staff are, they are still human. More often than not, it was either Johannes or I who'd calm them down, who'd help them figure out how to go about things. Unfortunately, I am not in high spirits right now, so I'm not as wholly benevolent. So I will... Fuck. Is one gonna lead to an instant death? Okay, we're opening the hatch, fuck it. It's not affecting my relationships, let's go for it. I may not be going down, but there's no point in talking through closed doors. Or hatches in this case. The thing refuses to budge at first, until there's a soft click, and it easily swings free. I'm holding a cup of tea, and I probably should actually just put that down. As I lift up the hatch and look into the cellar, a sense of uneasiness washes over me. No. Oh. It isn't just the onset of vertigo and nausea, but also the darkness. It's suffocating. And as I look down, it feels as if it's looking back at me. I worry that something will suddenly pull me into the deep. I can hear her whispering. Calling for me. She wants me. Needs me. She wants to drown me, pull me down, and suffocate me in her embrace until I sink to the bottom. A deep abyss awaits, inviting yet foreboding. She's calling to me from in there, isn't she? And I do want to help. I do. But the shadow's starting to creep out, and a feeling of apprehension keeps me in place. Already, it paints the room in a darker light. There's a lurching sensation, and the feeling that follows after is hard to explain. It feels like I'm watching myself from the sidelines, a spectator to my actions or lack thereof. I will myself to step out of this detached feeling, to move, to do anything except stare at myself. And for a moment, I see the look of fear in my own face. I'm back in my body, but the hook in my stomach is no longer the only one. There are hooks everywhere, tearing and pulling at my skin, flesh and bones. They pull at me in every direction, and it hurts. It hurts me so much, but I just can't bring myself to scream out.
Help me.
I did it. Wasn't quite sure what was going on there for a second. Managed to vaguely read in the corner, though, that you can actually skip QTEs, which I will not do, but that's nice to know that there's an option. I wake up from a deep slumber. It takes a while, with the fog that has settled in my head and my heavy limbs, but soon enough, I manage to look around. I'm in our bedroom already, although I do not recall going here. Luke slumbers beside me, looking peaceful and angelic. It doesn't matter. I'm safe, and I feel better than ever. Tomorrow, better days will come. Oh. I did it! I won! Okay. Woo! I couldn't remember where the J key was, and I was panicking. I'm like, huh? J! Ooh, okay, now I can safely sip my tea. I was kind of expecting a face to suddenly come out from the cellar. No, that was not the case. Luke is already gone by the time I rise. There isn't a single hide nor hair of him to be found, and trying to call him on his mobile is a bust, as it only goes straight to his voicemail. That's twice in a row he's gone on me. And for him to disappear today, of all days, is every bit upsetting because of what's to come. The morning is once again filled with a whirlwind of activity. Fortunately, I am much more refreshed as I took a break from my responsibilities. I haven't the faintest clue where Luke was yesterday. Today's going to be a busy day, although, unlike Wednesday, the master of the house isn't here right now, absent once again from his duties. Hopefully, he'll be back in time for the party. This is our house, after all. A grand housewarming party for the wonderful Wright mansion. Every person of importance from Luxburn is invited, and there will be a few guests flying in as well. Of course, there will be some people from the media, along with friends and acquaintances who are made no less important, regardless of their status in society. Mary Ann and I discussed business and last-minute touches to the house before finalizing everything. Not that there's much to change from our original plans. Bar any huge additions to the property itself, the mansion is nearly 100% complete.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Luke and I had a small tiff about making the second bedroom into a child's playroom, which I insisted is completely practical. In the end, he had to acquiesce. I didn't give him any choice in the matter. I even bought this wonderful wooden crib from the antique store yesterday, including some toys. Oh, this is... Just in case anyone brings their baby, of course. Uh-huh. Besides, we have little need for actual guest rooms. We hardly have any guests who spend the night. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to foot the bill for the visit on one of our hotels instead, always at Luke's own insistence. And on the off chance that we actually let someone stay, the bedroom in the opposite wing is still up to the task.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
No, I did not agree to him having a helipad.
Alright then. Well, do we have any other concerns? Anything we need to put on our agenda before the party commences?
No, I don't think so. Not unless Luke has anything else to say.
Is he around then? It'd be best if we can note down his requests right away considering the scope of his usual ones.
Around? No. Where is he? Who knows where? I don't.
No, he's not around.
She didn't have to point out the obvious now, did she? After 7 long years, I'd already gotten used to him. I should be by now. Still not, apparently.
But don't you have a party?
I want nothing more than to complain, to whinge about how unfair this is. However, airing out one's dirty laundry is simply taboo among high society. To do so will make you a ripe target for the next dinner party chit-chat. Vultures, the lot of them, really. Or most of them, at least. There are always good ones like Rochelle Lee. But put your trust in the wrong person, and you find yourself eagerly picked apart.
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting, he's having marital problems, and he's just trying to cheer him up.
Perhaps I'm being a bit too rash, a bit too hot-headed in divulging details. But I thought myself clever with the plan to dress it up as gossip. Marianne's raised brow makes me unsure whether she is interested or not. Although that does make things better if she has no interest and therefore has no hidden intent to utilize whatever I might say to her.
They've been married for a long time, and they've hit a... how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband.
Huh, switch the genders around and what have you got? Is that Hana's, projection?
But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark.
Projection.
What do you think?
What do I think of the matter, ma'am?
No, what do you think of my hair? It feels so lifeless and dull today, and that's no good for a party. And I think I'm breaking out into zits.
Now that you mention it, there is something different.
There better not be something on my face.
I wouldn't worry about that. You do look a little paler than usual, ma'am. I apologize if I'm crossing any lines here, but have you been resting properly?
Huh. You'd think I get a bit tanned with how sunny it's been lately. Don't you worry. I feel right as rain and never better. But back to the matter at hand.
You were asking for my personal opinion on the matter, ma'am? Do you want me to be honest, or...
I personally would want you to be honest with me, yes. But for points-wise, which one's gonna be better?
Be honest with me, Marianne. I don't need someone to sugarcoat it.
Yes.
I'm not some fragile thing that I'm just going to break down at the slightest thing.
She hesitates, taking a sip of her coffee while I stare into my own cup of tea. The silence stretches on, and I almost believe that she will never answer my question. I suppose I shouldn't blame her, putting her in a tight spot like this. Her hesitation is understandable, though I loathe to admit it. She simply wants this whole thing to stay professional. But then, she speaks.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
It's my turn to hesitate now. I really didn't expect such a straightforward question. And to get to the heart of the matter, I suppose I'm not as clever as I'd like to think. In this instance, you're not. Or is it really that bad that an outsider can see our little marital troubles? Surely we aren't that obvious, are we? We've put up the act of being a perfect couple for years, although it hasn't always been an act. Mary Ann is just more keen than the average person, of course. It is a necessity to her career, and she's been working so closely with us. Yes, that's it.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But, if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Someone who won't even give him the time of the day. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. That's just my 2 pence worth, of course.
So you're saying they should divorce?
Nothing as drastic as that. If they're afraid that it might lead to just that, then maybe that is what's meant to happen in the first place. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives. But it's just a short hiatus is all. Or, couples therapy? Look, I'm really not the best person to ask about relationships. So grain of salt and all that.
Oh, those are fucking solid. Those sound like solid options to me. She trails off, having said her piece, and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. There is a calm, despite the nature of what had just been discussed. To say that her words make me start to think is an understatement. To say that I'm not considering her advice is a lie. And to say that this might just be the calm before the storm is a possibility. Others have had shorter marriages, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. My own parents celebrated their choral anniversary before they passed away. But 7 years? 7 years isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It isn't a whole lot of time to see what and where a relationship can bring us. Oh, no. And at the same time, 7 years. Well, it hasn't been entirely made up of unhappy years, has it? It won't last forever. It's not supposed to, anyway. I just dread the thought that it might last for a very long time. I dread the thought that these small spats, these little disagreements, will all turn into an all-out resentment. The idea that we will grow to hate each other with every fiber of our being scares me. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment when our blissful union turned sour. We can get through this, right? I know that I still do love him, and I feel like there's still a part of him that loves me in return. We just need to get our heads together and talk it out. Surely he will see some sense. There's a cough before Marianne clears her throat. I must have been quiet for so long. I move to apologize when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure of how to proceed. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffle occurs as we decide whether to sit back down or not.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
The scene outside the parlor is a great organized mess. Aside from our own household help, we've hired the service of a temp agency which provides staff for the Wright enterprise in the hospitality sector. Even our very skilled staff cannot undertake a party of this size on their own. Waiters, busboys, hostesses, and their staff captain move about in droves, carrying crockery and serverware good for several dozen people and then some. Chefs and bartenders tail after Johannes, looking like scared little children as he escorts them through the kitchen and into the wine cellar. To peruse the stocks, to select what can be served at the party and what can be used for cooking.
Schnell! We have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails. Snails are for the dishes.
A string quartet readies up to play for the evening, tuning their instruments as they fill the air with idle chatter. Floral decor worth thousands fill vases, wreaths, baskets, while pearls are scattered along the driveway up front. Ooh. An ice sculpture with a reindeer is brought in carefully by a pair. It is followed by a simple cake, just a 5-tier white chiffon with one chocolate... It is followed by a simple cake, just a 5-tier white chiffon one with white chocolate mousse, fresh berries, and a light dusting of edible gold leaf. Yes. Simple. Obviously. But despite the fact that I told Marianne how I will attend to all of this, I find myself unable to focus or care for any of it. I still have our discussion running through my mind, and looking at all of this, I only see Luke everywhere. These are all the grand things that Luke wanted to have for the party. I had wanted a small, elegant, and simple gathering with only a select few invited, namely the people who I would actually trust to enter my home. I do not want any bloody politicians or paparazzi in here, no matter how used I am to catering them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
The entire thing screamed Luke Wright. And I can't help but add another question to my growing list of queries. When did I lose myself? It's always about him nowadays, isn't it? What about Hannah Wright? What about Hannah Evans? I used to be my own woman, who made her own name, her own career, and her own decisions. Sure, I was already the social butterfly that I still am today, but it wasn't all empty, shallow gossip and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me just because my father owned the company. I had insisted that I start at the bottom so I could work my way to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budgets, money and accounts, analyzing the competition and market trends. There was this calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, auditor liaison and public relations, supervision of staff, and... well, I generally had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker even back then, having dedicated most of my youth craving for my parents' approval. Failing that, I turned to others, looked for praise from anyone who would give it, however fleeting it all was. Stop being a mood. And Luke. Oh, Luke, the way he looked at me, the way he watched me and took a genuine interest. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw me for me, Hannah Evans, with both my faults and my achievements. The man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights, before we were married, when we talked about everything and anything. From big things like business, society, and philosophy, to little things such as what we had for breakfast or whether we liked cats or dogs more. We both prefer dogs. Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me that husbands prefer their wives who are docile and subordinate. A woman who will always be there for him, yet will never outshine him in all aspects except beauty. A wife needs to be at home and attend to his needs, to have children, and to take care of them in his absence. They said I have no business working anymore after I was married. I can blame society, but I listened. Before I can fall further into this introspective pit of self-loathing, someone calls for my attention.
The guests have arrived, madam.
And Luke?
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him. Open the doors, then. We mustn't tarry.
Cars line up the driveway, peppering the front of the mansion with vehicles of every kind. Grand tours, supercars, and even the odd high-end, there we go, muscle car or two, convertibles, grand saloons, and other luxury cars can be seen, being parked by valets. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly for those who thought it's too troublesome to bring their own cars. There are at least 2 different media vans as well. They're all here for what may be considered the biggest event for the year of Luxembourg. So far. Who knows what we'll plan for the winter holidays?
Welcome, welcome everyone. Please, make yourselves at home.
Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm, if not strange sunshine we are experiencing before gloomy skies inevitably return. They greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, others less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals here, whether through convenience or necessity. However, there are also a few who are not here to further cement their current place in high society. Such as the young man with his... Oh, why is Ashton here? Why is Ashton here? Sorry, got distracted. Are you okay? How is Isabella? such as the young man with his oriental air, ignorant of the looks he receives from women and men alike.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Becca's here. Hi, Becca. Or that rose-haired woman talking on her phone while she looks unsure of why she's here exactly.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom. Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
Who's her? I see Zachary, the photographer, as well. He talks to a few of the other media crew with an air of familiarity.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah. And the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
I'd invited Father Norman, too. It's the least I can do after you blessed the mansion upon my request, aside from my small donation to the church, of course. But the poor man had taken ill and went through a nervous breakdown of some sort the other day. Oh, shite. And then, there are people like Chief Inspector. People who I can never be too sure about. People who stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see?
Fuck off.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again.
She told me she'll just be in the gardens. I bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies. It's no offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
Wow!
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing. Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal. You've hidden his body.
You know, if this were between close friends, this would be funny, but since you're not a close friend,
I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches. Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
Oh, relax. I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead. The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough. Could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Rochelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out.
oh boy.
Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Still no plans for a baby? Well, I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
Haven't mentioned how I don't trust him no matter how hard I try to do so. At least he brought a gift, I suppose.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Think I will, thanks.
Greetings such as these carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have short conversations or merely handshakes and nod heads, I make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour pass us by, the rest of the stragglers and I adjourn to the ballroom. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to attend to now. Alright. Hosting parties is always the same old song and dance, no matter how big or small it is. You make sure your guests are well fed, have good company, and have them generally enjoy themselves. So when my opening remarks are done, and the band has started to play and guests have started eating, I find myself wandering around aimlessly until I'm pulled aside. For a while, I stay with a small group and entertain them before excusing myself. And while they are not any, and when they're not anymore watching me, I end up watching them. When they don't listen, I do. A local banker is having trouble with his daughter. He wishes to marry her off, but she wants nothing more than to make music. One of our hotel managers worries about stolen belongings of one of his patrons, a failing in security which should have been brought up to higher authority soon. Our mayor, well, his cat died. And then there's the rose-haired woman again. It is hard not to notice her, with her distinctive locks. She also lacks the grace that the other ladies have, though that does not make her any less beautiful. Her stance and the air she exudes instead are strong, and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Many men have already given her their attention, though each invitation to dance has been turned down. I approach, intrigued, although it is no great mystery what occupies her own attention with the glances she keeps sending towards the boy with the oriental hair. She remains unaware, though, even as I stand beside her, pretending that I am there for a drink.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenu, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up. Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
The boy comes over, but I do nothing to speak any softer. He merely passes by, and it is a wonder that he doesn't hear what I say.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend then? Because that would explain those rejections.
In all my life, I've never seen a face grow red so fast. The shade of her hair did not help as well. This is the most pink I've seen on a person, really.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed. Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact. Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
It's more the latter, currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property. I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
I waver as I feel the burning of someone's stares. It is chilling, and though I am used to enduring the gaze of others, this one makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Oh, hi. Oh, It is chilling, and though I'm used to enduring the neck stand up. Okay, cool. My attention is pulled from the girl as I see a woman staring. Dark-haired and dirty. She looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have half the mind to call security at her when her mouth breaks out into a grin. All I hear is her laughing. Taunting. Her stare makes my blood run cold. She looks at me like I am nothing but a pig to slaughter for her amusement. It makes my hand shake and I nearly drop my drink. But then, in a blink, she's gone, and the buzz of the party returns.
I'll keep that in mind, but... Are you alright?
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light. Anyway, on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Gales.
The name is familiar, like a fond memory. I recall a kind lady, a private tutor who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. She'd even bring me food when there was no need to do so. Usually stovies, which I honestly hadn't been too keen about, though I ate them nonetheless because she brought them for me.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way. But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Yes, oh, I remember you! You were the cutest little thing with glasses!
Oh my god, I'd love to see her. I'd love to see Rebecca with glasses.
And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A.
Oh my god, is it still Ash?
What was it again? Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
The more I list off names, the more red and the more quiet Becky gets. She starts to look a little bit miserable as her body language shows discomfort and stiffness. Perhaps I triggered a horrid childhood memory. Surely, I hadn't been mean when she visited with her mother? I don't quite remember all of it.
Ashton! Ash! That man is that boy! The same one. Oh, goodness me, after all these years! I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone within earshot, you know? Keep it down.
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
And a tad bit sad.
This is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Please, Anna's fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky. Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales. And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best. If you love them, you have to fight for it, right? You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it. But what do I know?
There's a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as children? Certainly a long time. She was tiny back then, if I recall correctly.
I'm sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about. But have you told him how you feel? And it's been what? 20 years?
17, actually. But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense. I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and...
Well, that won't do. What if you two become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person. Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
If that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I? Whoever anyone ends up with, it's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway. There's going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans. It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then. I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids. And you were the first I told anyone about my... crush.
I do remember that she mentions it. Did I give her that yellow summer dress or the pink blouse and petticoat? She must have kept some of what I said in mind. It feels ridiculous remembering all of that years later, talking about boys and how they go crazy for pretty girls, as if it's some gospel every woman should adhere to. It was so easy to say such things then, with me not knowing any better. Though, looking at her now, she must have kept some of what I said in mind. Perhaps I did say something good at the time, enough for her to take it to heart. But all that didn't matter in the moment as I mull over what she said in my head. What Becky told me is very different from what Marianne told me. There is no time to ponder over that, however, as a hush descends upon the once lively crowd. The music of strings and chatter slows to a grinding halt as the doors from the foyer opens. The last of the latecomers should have arrived moments ago, and anyone else this late would simply be too embarrassed to show their face. So this can only be one person, or rather man. There's only one man who is audacious enough to arrive at his own party so late.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party?
With a glass of wine, I see.
I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the Wright mansion.
Unlike I, who was raised in the spotlight and simply grew used to his presence, he sought it out every chance he could, even when there was no spotlight that shone. And I'll never put it against him when he smiles like that. He did so quite brilliantly under the scrutiny when he channels his showmanship. You can tell by the way people's eyes light up as he speaks. How they listen, enraptured, even if all he's doing is a simple greeting. A little wave of his hand here, a little smile there, and a bit of swagger. I always tell him that if he is not to be a businessman, he'd do well as an entertainer. I love the sight of him, especially when he looks at me, and he beckons me over to humbly share his place. Not a single second is wasted as I excuse myself from Becky's side and make my way to Luke's.
Welcome, one and all, to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are all ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
There's a round of applause, cheers, and even some hoots. Guests approach us left and right to shake Luke's hand and greet him personally, praise on their lips. It is because of this that I do not see her. I do not see her until she is dangerously close, with fury in her eyes as she's already spitting venom. Oh! Johann restrains her, taking care not to unnecessarily harm the pregnant woman. Wait, what? Wait, is this Rochelle? But that does little to deter her rage, and the man has no choice but to let her go, lest an unborn child be hurt. Although it might be too late for that, as I see an empty glass of wine in her hand. How much is she imbibed in?
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle? Perhaps you need to sit down and...
No! Shut it, you munter! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here! You bloody bastard standing there with your smarmy smile!
She interrupts me, jabbing a finger in my direction before she rounds on Luke. Even as whispers and murmurs break out among the guests, all I can focus on is the heat of the moment. Obviously intoxicated, judging by the smell of alcohol in her breath. I'm not ticked off about this little display of hers, at least not yet. But I'm absolutely pissed by the fact that she'd endanger her own baby by drinking. There's a considerable amount of restraint and grace that I must exercise while I wait for her attention to subside. I keep a patient, if tight, smile on my face. Luke's expression, on the other hand, is indecipherable.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
I did.
And I told you with great emphasis not to. Now we have a drunk, hormonal, pregnant woman causing a stir. What is even going on?
I'm just about to ask the exact same thing.
I don't know. But Rochelle, do calm down before you hurt yourself. I can't understand a word you're saying.
Where is that husband of yours? Lee! Collect your wife right now!
Don't you fucking talk like I'm not here and you're not responsible, you ass! You told me that I should wait for you in the gardens!
Excuse me. What is this nonsense you're going on about?
Crazy talk. That's all it is. Just completely and utterly mad. Has anyone seen the Chief Inspector?
I am pregnant with your little bastard. You promised me you'll take responsibility.
Oh,
God damn it, Luke. I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me.
What?
What do you mean you're pregnant with? Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman! Security! Johans, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
No, you do not do this to me. I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours. Look at her. Does she look like she wants a baby?
I mean, yes, she does. She's been actively for it, but...
Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
That one I don't know. I cannot judge. It is now that Johans returns with security, along with a concerned-looking Officer Lee. They surround her and move to escort the hysterical woman. Judging by his pale face, he has heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man. Not that I believe Rochelle. Luke will never... He will never go so far as to sleep with another woman, right?
I'm so sorry for her behavior. She's been under a lot of stress. And the alcohol.
She shouldn't be under alcohol.
Talking nonsense, that's all it is. You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Johans are amazing. Is there really nothing here but the ramblings of a drunk? Of course they're nothing but the ramblings of a drunk. She's just jealous. Jealous of this wonderful marriage, this happily ever after that I have with my prince.
Take that trollop out of here immediately! And see to it that she isn't allowed here or anywhere we hold any authority in Luxbourne.
To be banned from anything with the Wright's name on it is basically social suicide. We practically own half of Luxembourg, and there isn't a single establishment of repute that isn't under our patronage one way or another. This is mercy. I can do much worse to her. At least this way, she can just move out of the city and never, ever return. I have stayed my hand in the face of her grievous fault, her bold-faced lies, when she deserves so much more. I can take away her business, have her factory shut down. It is too easy to ruin her life until she is just nothing. And it is all so tempting. I can only see red. The tension is thick in the air, and the silence that embraces the room is nearly deafening. There are worried and almost fearful glances from some of the guests, yet at the same time, I can still hear them whispering. But as long as they hold their tongues and don't interfere, none of those matter to me. Especially when my darling looks at me with a different shine in his eyes. It almost seems as if he's proud of what I've done, and that spurs me on more than anything.
Everyone, please go back to enjoying the party. Don't let that mess of a woman ruin your night.
And here I thought you and Rochelle were friends, damn. I mean, obviously after this it would be hard to maintain a friendship, but like, damn.
You heard her! Strike up the band, maestro, and let us dance like fireflies in the night!
It takes a bit for the crowd to stir again, in the face of all of that. But like most problems of the elite, it is brushed under the rug and forgotten in favor of merriment. He offers his hand to me with a small smirk and a bow.
Well, that was a mess, wasn't it? And you handled it magnificently.
It happens. We are very important people, are we not?
Milady, would you like to dance?
With pleasure, my prince.
No one is going to get in between me and my darling husband. Not Rochelle or any other rich, snooty scrubber. Not some common whore or ambitious maid. No one is going to get near him in this manner, not while I'm around. And if I have anything to say about it, no one is going to get near him at all. Ooh boy. The day after proved to be a difficult task. My darling prince is a man of many connections, a man of the people. He is always talking to one person or another. And I am always left alone, unable to stay at his side at all times. It is frustrating, but I have to be understanding. Besides, I don't see why he can't just stay at home. The least I can do is make sure that I have this time while he's here. While I have his time while he's here. Which, in and of itself, isn't as easy as it sounds. Not with that bloody valet of his tailing him around.
Johans! Where's my tie? I can't find it anywhere.
Have you looked around your neck? It should be there if it's not on your clothes horse, sir.
It isn't often that I'm awake this early, at least early enough to find my darling preparing for the day with his valet attending to him. It is an old-fashioned way to go about the morning. He is able to dress himself after all. But he says that if it really makes the day easier for him to have, someone else do this tedious task, albeit with a grimace. Though if that manservant of his dislikes the duty so much, I'll gladly do it in his stead.
I've got it, my prince. Come here.
Well, someone's up anathema especially early this morning, huh? Here I thought you'd be knackered by all the dancing we did last night at the party. And after that, well...
A saucy little wink and a smile is what he offers me as I draw close to fix his tie. And when the valet reaches out with his perfume, I quickly take it and shoo him aside. This close, his scent fills me with the smell of white flowers, cocoa, cardamom, and almonds. It is intoxicating. And the sight of the two of us in the vanity mirror is picturesque and perfect. Can I help it if I feel a bit resentful that another person gets to do for... Can I help it if I feel a bit resentful that another person gets to do this for Luke every morning when I could have done it myself? No. No, I can't.
You're dismissed, Shroken. I have this. Go on then. You'll be summoned if you're needed.
There's a curious look, furrowed brows, before any sign that he cares is wiped from his expression.
Very well. If you need me, I'll be somewhere that isn't here.
You could have let the man do his job.
And I say there's no need for him. I can take care of you just fine, my prince. Just where are you off to this morning anyway?
I hate the thought of him leaving me. It feels like an eternity without him here, in this lonely place that doesn't feel like a home quite yet. Although the mansion is really growing on me, slowly but surely. I want to be at his side, yet he fails to see such an obvious thing.
Business. Where else?
Why can't you just work from home? You can afford to, can't you?
Business needs a firm hand and a personal touch, Buttercup. Besides, I can't stay cooped up forever in here. I'll go mad.
Well, you'll come back home as soon as possible, won't you? It's so awfully lonely here without you, my prince.
I could. I don't see why I should, though. This hasn't been a problem before.
Fuck.
You know I'll come home when I come home.
Just get home as soon as you can. For me, won't you?
No promises. It's business after all. I can't just stand up in the middle of the meeting and tell them the wife wants me home.
Then
Bet they
forget
fucking
those
understand.
peasants.
He stops and stares, looking perturbed for a moment before shaking his head. Is he feeling ill? That's more reason for him to stay here with me, doesn't it? I'm just being a good wife, worrying about my husband and all. Slowly turning into a yandere, maybe?
Be good, dear, and stay safe. There's been all sorts of dodgy characters seen about the property. I'll be leaving Johans with you, just in case you need anything, and to be on the safe side, okay?
Well, at least you care, I guess.
But I don't need a valet. I need you here with me.
I'll be closing a big deal with a pharmaceutical company soon, if things go according to plan. Maybe, after that, I can take a breather for a bit.
No maybes. You have to promise me.
I only need him.
I'm going to be late, Hannah. The longer this takes, the later I'll get home.
Fine. Shall I see you out?
If that's what you want.
At the front door, his valet waits, ready to accompany him for the rest of the day, when he's told to stay and attend to me. I still don't like it. It looks like he doesn't either. But I ignore him in favor of the one who really matters. I hold Luke's hand in mine and give him a deep kiss. It makes my heart flutter, as I see the way his eyes close during a moment of passion. Parting for air, I can only smile.
Have a good day, my prince.
Right. Off I go.
I still don't want him to leave. He should just stay. Forever.
If you could let go of my hand, please, Hannah.
It's just so hard to let go when I finally have him in my grasp. To watch him enter his car and leave pains me so. It leaves behind an aching, gaping hole like a hunger and a need. I'm not content until he returns.
If it fits you, breakfast is ready in the parlor, madam.
If anything, I'll be in a foul mood until he returns.
Leave and go practice your bloody sodomy elsewhere.
Holy shit. I did pass the QTE, right? I did pass it, right? Because failing would kill me, right? Because this feels a lot like it's, she's being influenced by something.
Peculiar.
When I turn around to hasten to leave, he's already gone, and that suits me just fine. I want to be alone, without anyone bothering me. I want to be alone with myself and my thoughts, with only these halls as company. These damned halls which will hold our memories, just he and I. There's no one else I need but my prince. Not some cheeky servant who's just living it up because he's Luke's right-hand man. Rubbish like him deserve nothing. He deserves to be thrown and locked in the attic. Without realizing it, my feet have brought me here. This empty, lifeless room disgusts me. The longer I stare at it, the harder it gets to breathe, as if the walls are moving in on me. Yet, at the same time, it pulls me in. I hear a whispering, and curiosity gets the better of me as I look under the bed. There, on the far corner, a loose floorboard. The wood, despite having swelled and warped over the years, is strangely familiar, comforting in its feel. Though it's not merely what my hand searches for as I reach for it, it takes quite a bit of it takes quite an effort, but soon I'm able to lift it. And inside, underneath the dust and the cobwebs, lies a pendant, warm and familiar. If only I knew kanji. Nah, fuck it, I'm looking it up. Okay, if my ability to actually look up shit is correct, this is a name. Takako. That's assuming I am any way, shape, or form decent at searching up kanji and combinations of kanji. Anyway. And I swear, if If I just close my eyes, I can feel it beating in my palm. I feel a thrill, though I also feel like a thief for taking this. But it's mine. Oh, you are so imbued with the spirit of whatever the fuck's in this house, aren't you? So without delay, I hide in our room. In front of the vanity, I see the way my eyes shine as I remove the clasp of my old necklace and put on this new one. It fits a lot better than the old one. I can feel it as it weighs on my chest.
Right where it belongs.
Oh! Okay, cool. Then we switch over to Zachary's point of view. Okay, I don't think I fucked up the QTE after all. Maybe, question mark, maybe. What was that? I'm gonna see what happens if I fail the QTE. Just to double check. Nope, skip. Okay, we're gonna fuck up the QTE. Okay. Okay, so I in fact did not fuck up the QTE. I think. Okay, okay. Boring death. Cool, great, fantastic. Okay, I did not fuck it up. That's what it was meant to be, which makes me wonder that if I had picked on Isabella's side to stay at home, if it would have ended up with me going into the office anyway, and that's how it ends. Whatever. Yes. Load game. Okay, so so the last thing I picked before the switchover was this option. But that one doesn't feel as, like, it would have changed the story any much, unlike the one with Isabella. I don't know. Either way, kind of surprised I managed to get all of Hannah's in one go. More or less, I did take that break. Oopsies. Well. But now we're on to Zachary. Oh, wait, actually, load his. What date does it say? I didn't pay attention to the date. Shit, fuck. Okay, so... hang on. Words. So... okay, so the party was on the 28th. And the incident with Isabella happened on the 24th. Could they have, like, I guess they could just be putting on a brave face, but, like, could they have recovered so quickly from Isabella's disappearance and or death? Well, specifically Ash, anyway. Don't know, but I'm sure Becca would be upset too, and Zachary. Especially because Zachary came 2 days after. So is Isabella okay? Ah! Very, very tempted just to sit through another fucking session. Just to do Zachary's story. Oh wait, no, hang on, no, go back to that actually. No, 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 no. We're going to ignore that. So now we're on Zachary. Okay. No, I'm gonna end this here. Come back to it another